In the last video, we talked about one of the approaches to solving the puzzle cube challenge. In this video, we are going to talk about the other approach and kind of my preferred way to do this. So if you remember, what we did was just tack on individual cubes in what's called sub-assemblies, and then we had one final assembly where we brought these sub-assemblies in and created our final cube. This is an okay way to do it, but one of the things you'll notice is everything's the same color. And we actually can't change that in Onshape because this cube is all the same part. It all goes back to this cube here. So I can change the color of this cube, right click on the cube, go to Edit Appearance, left click on it, and then just pick a color and hit the green check mark. So now I made my cube green, I can go to my final cube and everything's green. But there's no way to distinguish between this one and this one. Now what I can do is come over here and click on the eye for one of them. And so that made that first one disappear. I can do that for the second one, and then I can make them both show back up again. Alternatively, you can right click on it and click on hide, but that just does the individual cube. So now I'm going to show you the way to do it that would allow you to have separate colors. So let's start by making a new Part Studio. So left click on the plus sign, left click on Create Part Studio, and it's called Part Studio 1. I'm going to right click on it, go to Rename, and I'm going to call this Puzzle Cube Pieces. Inside of this, I'm going to make what's called a variable. So to do that, I come to this little X right here, left click on it, and it asks me for a length right here. And I'm going to put, ask me for a name first. So I'm going to call this size. And then I'm going to call the value 1 inch. Now it also lets you change what that value is for angle, number, and any. But if we just go to any and say that it's 1, it'll make it count for all of these. So what is a variable? Well, a variable is just a really cool way to change dimensions. So for example, if I created a sketch and I made a, let's go to center point rectangle, and I made a rectangle and I made this side and this side equal to each other, and I wanted to dimension it, instead of just typing in 1 inch, I can type in hashtag size. Remember, our variable name is size, so hashtag size, hit enter. It automatically knows that it's 1. I come over here and I hit extrude, sketch 1, and I do this one, do hashtag size as well. It's 1 inch. Okay, so what's the difference? It's just the same as what it was. Well, if I come over here and double click on size and I change this number to 5 inches, now the cube's a lot bigger, and I didn't have to change anything but that one number. So that's really convenient. So I'm going to go back over here, I'm going to call that 1 inch, fix it, and now we have our cube again. Alright, so now I'm going to delete these two and show you the way that I would approach this. So to start, we're going to make a new sketch on the top frame, and we're going to look down. What I want to do is basically create the side of the entire piece versus the cube. So if I wanted to make that L, let's start right here. We'll go up, we'll come over, come back down, come in, and I'm just completing this L. So if you notice, the sides are kind of wonky, and it's not, everything's blue, it's not black, except for this one piece, and this just isn't going to work. So now we have to constrain it. To do that, I'm going to click on this piece and this piece, because they should, in theory, be the same length. I'm going to click on the equal sign. So now those are the same. And I want that to be 1 unit right there. So I'm going to go to dimension right here. I'm going to click on this line, and I'm going to call it hashtag size. So now I know that this size is right and this size is right, but what's not right is this size and this size. If I want to make an L, that means that this is going to be broken down into 3 smaller cubes right here, and then a final one right here. So that means that in theory, so one thing I forgot to show you, if I click on the line right here and then I click on this, it's called construction, it makes a line that it kind of ignores when it goes to extrude. And this is just useful for seeing things and dimensioning things. So if I broke this entire thing up into cubes, what I would see is something that looks kind of like this. And each of these cubes needs to be the same size. So if you notice, there's 1, 2, 3 cubes on this side. So what it can do is go and click dimension, click on this side right here, pull it over, and I can say hashtag size times 3. So Onshape is really cool in that it lets you do math inside of this right here. So I could do times 3 plus 1 minus 2 minus 3. Oh, that wouldn't work. I messed it up. Anyway, so I can do size times 3, and then there we go. It's 3 inches. On this side, I can come over here, click on it, and any guesses as to what this should be? Okay, it's hashtag size times 2. Type that in. Now everything is black and it looks to be the right size. So I'm going to hit the check mark. I'm going to hit extrude. I'm going to go to sketch 1. I'm going to go right here and say hashtag size. Okay. If I hit the check mark, now I have an L. I can repeat this process and create slightly different parts. So I can also, remember, create sketches on the edge of this. So I can hit sketch, I can hit this face right here, go and hit top, so I'm looking at the top of it, and then I can click rectangle, go from this part to this part, and I accidentally, let me undo that. So click on rectangle, click on this base point right here, and then you see this line highlights. That just means that it's going to stick it on that line. So now this point is only going to stay on that line. And this cube looks right, except for the fact that it's just too long. It's not the right size, so it could be up here, it could be down here, it's just not right. So what I need to do is click dimension over here, and I'll click on this side, or you can click on this one and this one, and I can type hashtag size. So now I have a square that's from right there to right there. I'm going to come over here and hit check mark, I'm going to hit extrude, click on sketch 2, click on depth, write hashtag size, and there we go. There we have a new part. And so this is a solid, complete part, and you would repeat this process for differently designed parts. And what you can do is create multiple parts inside the same part assembly. And the way that we do that is we would come and create another sketch. Let's say I wanted to do it on this surface right here. So I did that, I'm going to hit top, and let's say that I want it to look like this. I want it to connect right here, and I want it to come all the way down here, make this like L piece. So this sketch was actually pretty much all the way black, and that's because I was referencing this other one that I already made. So because the other one is already the right size, and this one is relative to that, so this one is always connecting to the corner of that. Same thing with this part of the sketch. So it's automatically black, everything's great. So now I'm going to hit my check mark. I'm going to hit extrude. I'm going to click sketch 3, and this is where it gets different. So do you see how it's all red? It's basically saying, hey, you can't add that here because there's some weird stuff. And what that weird stuff is that this corner is just really, really small. In the real world, you can never make that. But that's beside the point, because I don't want to add to this. I want to make a new part. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to left click on new. And what we see is that color just changed. So I left click on new, I'm going to go right here to depth and you write hashtag size again, click the check mark, and now it's a new part. Now remember, this has to have 4 pieces, and it only has 3 right now. So I can go and create a sketch on the back. I'll hit bottom, and you can see it. And what you can do, if it's not the size the way that you want it, you can push these and rotate it. So all I want to do is click rectangle, and then click on this side right here. If I click on that dot, actually we're not going to do that. We're just going to click on the side. Okay, so now this can change. I'm going to go to dimension, click on the side, and write hashtag size. So now I have a little square on the back of this piece. I'm going to hit the check mark. I'm going to come and hit extrude, and I'm going to pick that last sketch. Now what's happening is it's blue. It doesn't really know which one it should be. So it's connecting to this first piece and it's connecting to the second piece. It doesn't know who it should add to, so just making a new one. What I'm going to do is come over here and click add. Now we see it's red, and the reason why it's red is that problem that I mentioned before, where it doesn't know who to belong to. So what we have to do is define the merge scope. And the merge scope is just saying it's adding on to this piece. So I'm going to click on merge scope, I'm going to click on my gray piece, and then it became gray. So if I exited off of that and clicked on the blue piece, it becomes blue, but I want it to become gray. So here we go, it's a gray piece right here. And now you see that we have these two pieces. So this is not an assembly, this is still a part studio. It's just it has multiple parts, and I can hide it nonetheless, like all the same. And I can also rename it. So this is part 1. I'm going to rename that to piece 1, check mark, do that for this one too, piece 2. And then if I wanted to go and create another assembly, create assembly, I'm going to go to rename it, and I'm going to call that final cube 2. I can come in here and I can insert that part. So you see these two part studios? I can click this arrow and pick both of these pieces. So there's piece 1, click it, piece 2, click it, and then click my check mark, and here they are. I want to go ahead and fix one, so I'll fix the blue one. Right click it, go to fix. And I need to attach this one in somehow. And I can do it pretty much wherever I want. And I think what I'm going to do is fasten, click on fasten, go to this face, and I think I'm going to do this face right here. So if I click check mark, you see this is like the cubes before. You know, we're not violating any of our rules. There's 1, 2, 3 cubes wide, if you can imagine it. But they're different colors. And so you would do this for the rest of the puzzle cube, designing the pieces all the way out like that, instead of doing individual cubes. I like this approach. It's just kind of the engineer in me. The other one works too, but all your colors are going to be the same, so just something to consider. Alright, I know this was a bit lengthy of a video, but I hope that helps as you start on your puzzle project. Good luck.